Hey, what's up? It's Comic95 the Savior, and for this video I will kind of talk about 2 or 3 different things regarding breakups in Japan. This video was suggested from a comment that I got on a previous video, so I wanted to answer it in an entire video versus just one comment because I know it will help other people. So normally when people come to my channel, they're looking for advice kind of on how to pursue a relationship or how to tell if a relationship is real. But the flip side of that is, for those of you that are already living in Japan especially, how can you deal with breaking up? So I want to kind of talk about how guys normally break up with you, as well as give my own personal suggestions with how I suggest breaking up, which is simply, to put simply, is by combining both American aspects of ending a relationship as well as a little bit of Japanese. So, first things first, if you haven't already watched my previous videos for dating in Japan, specifically my ghosting video, I highly suggest that you watch out my video that talks about, dealing with fuckboys, etc. That kind of gives you a little bit of background and gives you a general idea as to how someone will break up with you. So, anyway, now that's out of the way, I want to also say once again, ghosting here in Japan is not meant to be a bad thing like how it is in the US per se. It's really a cultural thing. And not to give Japanese people an excuse for ghosting you, I do understand why it is done. Culture-wise, Japanese people don't like to have conflict. They like to avoid it at all costs. So whenever possible, they would rather just disappear than handle a problem head on. Which I can respect that in one sense is better than becoming violent, becoming angry, saying things you might regret, just leaving a person alone, and honestly, you should get the hint. I do believe that this is wrong to do in certain circumstances, such as if you're in a serious long-term relationship. To give no closure is really bogus, but for someone that you just briefly dated, someone that you had a one-night stand with, I can side with the Japanese on this. I don't feel the need to give someone a long, explanation for why you're done. But in all honesty, if it were me, I would definitely let you know that, I ain't into you. I might not give you all the reasons why, but I would definitely give closure. But this video is not about me yet. I'll get to my 2 cents. I first want to start off with the hints and or signs that a Japanese guy will give you if he is done with your relationship. So keep in mind that obviously if the guy is going to be more obvious, a little bit more direct, he obviously does still care about you, wants to protect your feelings, but more than likely what you did probably isn't too bad, which is why he's still communicating with you, and he's trying not to break your heart, hurt your feelings, instead of just, suddenly ghosting you. So normally these are things that he will say and or do to allude to the fact that, yeah, your relationship is over with, something went wrong. So let's get into it. So number 1, as I said, if a guy is done with your relationship, of course, he's going to ghost you. He will simply disappear, he will stop communicating with you, or he will do so at a very slow rate, not as quickly as he was before. He suddenly becomes too busy, has plans, something's just not right. He might delete his profile, he might block you, whatever the case might be. This guy has pretty much distanced himself from you. This is the first and most popular way in which both guys and girls will break up with you. But yeah, that's the most common way for breakups to take place. Number 2, the second and not so much common way. Mind you, this isn't really supposed to be in any particular order, but I'm just saying. So number 2, he will tell you directly in a very blunt way. So he will simply say, I'm done dating you, I'm not interested, I don't like you, whatever you did. So for example, maybe you guys had a big argument. He might tell you directly, look, you're too argumentative, you're too whatever. He'll just make it very clear to you that he's done. So whether it's said in a mean way or nicely, totally depends on the guy. A lot of people here will treat you differently as a foreigner, which can work in your favor depending on what you prefer, breakup style as a girl, because a lot of guys are aware that stereotypically foreign women are more outgoing, more outspoken, and more direct in how they speak to you. So for some of these guys, they don't mind directly telling you look, I'm done, I'm not happy. And again, for some foreign girls, this works for you. For other girls, it's more heartbreaking and hurtful. Totally depends on the person. But yes, of course, number 2, they will just tell you directly look, I'm done, I'm not interested, we're through. Number 3, this is similar to number 2, but instead, this guy will, instead of putting the blame on himself for why the relationship is over with by saying that he's done with you, he will say that he'll blame himself in a different way. So he'll tell you that, you know, the relationship can't work because he cannot make you happy. He'll insist that you could find a better man, a better boyfriend, etc. And while it might sound nice and sweet, it's generally not literally meant. He's basically saying you're crazy. He doesn't feel like he can satisfy you because either he wants to continue cheating and talking to other girls, or he's just lost interest and he's trying to keep you from beating yourself up about it because he cares about your feelings. So instead, he's going to say, I can't make you happy. There's better guys out there for you. I'm so sorry, you know, whatever. He'll take that approach. So that is another common way for this to happen. But again, generally ghosting is more likely to happen. You'll more than likely get this third option if like you're continuing to be clingy and not willing to let this guy go. He will try to make up excuses for why he can't make you happy, which if you meet him with the, oh, but I can do whatever, you're going to end up putting him into the ghosting stage. So yeah, number 3, this guy will basically say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't make you happy. There's a better guy out there for you, you know, I can't do whatever. Like, he'll insist that he's just not the one for you. But instead of just saying, I'm better than you, there's better girls out there for me, instead he'll tell you there's better men out there for you. Number 4, this guy might nicely explain to you that he doesn't see you as a girlfriend. So again, kind of similar to the previous points, but he'll just straight out say like, look, like, I'm not looking for a relationship. I want to have fun. I'm enjoying being single, whatever, something along the lines of that. He will let you know he's not looking for a girlfriend. So he might slap you with the, oh, you know, I'll get married when I'm past 30, or, you know, I've been divorced. He'll make up whatever type of excuse for why he's not interested in you. And he might even be telling the truth. Some guys, like some girls too, just enjoy being able to, you know, run around, play around, etc. And they have no interest in settling down and committing to one girl when they can have tons of different girls. So something during your relationship changed his mind. Or maybe you thought this was a serious relationship and it simply wasn't. And he's here to let you know, look, I don't see you as wifey material. I don't see myself marrying you. I don't see you as my girlfriend. So yeah, we're done. And last but not least, number 5, the guy will simply block you and or delete your chats. So this pretty much goes into the ghosting category, but keep in mind that in most situations, if a guy is really ghosting you, he doesn't quite exactly disappear suddenly all at once, but instead he slowly distances himself. This case is really like abrupt, like true ghosting, where this guy is just like gone. So you could have literally just left your date and like by the time you get home, this guy has already deleted you from line, he's ended the conversation, he's blocked you, he's unfriended you, he's unfollowed you, whatever. There's the extreme side of this. But do keep in mind that a lot of guys here will actually continue to follow you even after breaking up, just to keep an eye on you. But this is more of the ghosting type situation because again, maybe you posted free sexy material that he would have had to pay for on OnlyFans. So for him, it's worth it to follow you. He's not, you know, upset with your body. Like, he just doesn't want to be with you. You're still hot. So don't be fooled by that. I know I've had girls like leave comments on my ghosting video in which they were like, oh, but he's still following me. He watches my snap. It's like, trust me, it has nothing to do with that. He's not petty like how you are. And for him, it's not worth it to unfollow you. He's glad that he's gained a follower. And even if you're not following him back, again, you're cute, you're sexy, whatever. And of course, he does want to keep an eye on what's going on with your life. I think a lot of us are guilty of spying on our exes. So that's that. So now that we've gotten out of the way how a guy would generally break up with you as the girl, let's talk about what I recommend doing for breaking up with your Japanese boyfriend. So as always, I always try to kind of like encourage you, at least I try, to put yourself in the other person's shoes. If you wouldn't want somebody to be super blunt, super direct, super harsh with you, don't do it back to them. And maybe you are the one, excuse my voice, I'm sick. Maybe you are the one, I won't say I'm sick, my heat has been on. Maybe you are the one that, you know, you like the super blunt, super direct, you know, tell me how it is. Honestly, that is more of me, despite the fact that I'm super sensitive. I can admit that I can personally have a hard time taking no for an answer if I feel like there was love or chemistry there. I've been there before, I've learned and matured as I've gotten older. But you really need to consider the other person's feelings when you're talking to them. So don't say things that are too mean, too harsh. You don't need to be over direct. Be clear with your intentions and don't lead people on. So, for example, if you're not interested, you shouldn't be doing things that make it seem like you're interested. If it seems like something that a girlfriend would do, don't do it. If it seems like something that a best friend would do, don't do it. Do also keep in mind that people do not commonly stay friends with their exes in Japan. It's very taboo and unheard of. So if you are dating a guy and he's friends with his ex, he's more than likely cheating on you. And if you claim to be friends with your ex, this will not go over well with a Japanese guy in most circumstances. I know some girl's gonna come to my comments and be like, well, actually, my husband, clap, clap for you, ho. We're talking about generally speaking. You're the exception to the rule. Most people cannot say the same thing for their relationship. And while you might think you know your man, you think you know your husband, your boyfriend, your fiance, whatever, he probably is not happy with the fact that you are talking to your ex. And because you're talking to your ex, he might see it as, okay, well, since she can cheat, I can cheat too. So do keep that in mind. So anyway, we are going to move on to my personal tips on how I recommend breaking up. These are all things that I've personally done here in Japan. I've dated a lot of people for varying lengths of time, so this is just my own opinion. There's no book, there's no factual way to do it, and if you want to know how Japanese girls do it, it pretty much lines up with what I do, but realistically, normally they will just ghost you. They're not going to be direct with you. So again, I try to have some balance, keeping it between a mixture of being American by being, honest with you, but also being Japanese, trying to protect your feelings, but also as an American or as a person with a good heart, period. I don't like hurting people's feelings. Like, if I dated you, clearly I liked you at some point. I loved you at some point, maybe. I don't want to hurt you because I wouldn't want somebody to hurt me like that. I don't have to be insulting, degrading, demeaning, whatever to you in order to make it clear that I'm done with you. But as a good person, as an adult, I do need to be honest with you and not lead you on and make you believe there's hope in our relationship being repaired if I'm truly finished with it. So do be sure to ask yourself, are you really done with this guy? Or is there just one or two things you think you can work out and that can be changed later before you talk to him about breaking up? Okay, so number one, first things first, if you're done with your relationship, you need to cancel any upcoming dates and their plans, even if they have not been made yet necessarily. For example, right now, Christmas is right around the corner. If I am planning to break up with my boyfriend, I would simply say to him, look, I have plans, or, look, I don't want to go out for Christmas, dinner this year. That should automatically give him like a red flag right there. This girl is done with me. Why do you not want to have Christmas dinner together? That's like over a month from now. Why? So think about things like that. Cancel anything that's coming up. So whether you have a date tonight or have a date this weekend or a month from now, you need to make it clear that you don't plan on being free to this person at that time. You're not available to date. If you do choose to go on a date with this person, you are not only being wrong to him as your boyfriend, but you're being wrong to him just as a general person. Because let's be real, if you're going on a date, more than likely the guy is going to be paying for it, and he also wouldn't want to waste his time with you. Even if you're splitting the bill, he wouldn't want to waste his time or money on or for you if he knew that you didn't love him anymore. So you need to be real with yourself. You are better off canceling the guy and standing him up and making him think you were going to go to dinner tonight and canceling an hour before or whatever, than to show up, use him, get free food. I know it's tempting. Get free food, go on a little date, do some shopping, whatever, and then say, oh, by the way, I don't want to see you next month for Christmas. So don't do that. What goes around comes around. You reap what you sow. Be honest and let him know. Will he be upset that you canceled your date at the last minute? Will he be upset because he might have made Christmas, reservations? Yeah, probably. But at least now he has time to find another girlfriend to fill your place. He can choose to go out with somebody else for a Christmas dinner. He has over a month. He can choose to cancel the reservation at the restaurant. He can choose to go and eat with his friend. Whatever the case happens to be, I promise you, you're not doing him a favor by keeping the date because you guys already made plans for it. You're also thinking selfishly because, let's be real, you wouldn't be showing up there if the food wasn't free at this point. So yeah, Don't do that. Cancel any dates. Make it clear you have no interest in hanging out and seeing each other again, and you need to be firm in your decision. Do not flip-flop and change your mind. It's misleading, and again, for someone that's really attached to you, you're giving them hope. Okay, she says she's done. She's acting like she's not interested anymore, but if she didn't like me, wouldn't she cancel dinner tonight? Wouldn't she say she can't go to the movies next Saturday? Like, think to yourself. Be real. Number 2, stop replying to calls and or messages. So no more flirtatious texts, no more good morning, good night, etc. No more how was your day at work. These are all things that couples do. They're flirty text messages. You do not message your ugly friends and ask them these questions. So you know you wouldn't be saying this to a guy if you weren't interested in him, and vice versa. If you're done with a relationship, I wouldn't necessarily recommend like totally ignoring the person per se, but no more exchanging like flirty messages, sending sexually suggestive photos, no more leading the person on. Someone texting you good morning while it's just a greeting, let's be real. These are texts that we don't normally send to our regular friends, realistically. Not on a regular basis, at least. It's misleading to the guy, especially if this is something that you guys did within your relationship. Don't do that. Stop it altogether. No more flirty text back and forth. You're leading him on. It's wrong. Be real. You're done with the relationship, so act like it. If he's sending you flirtatious text messages, let them down nicely. Explain, I don't want to do this. I'm not interested. Make it clear. You don't have to be blunt and say, look, I don't like your ugly, crusty lip ass anymore. Don't say anything like that. But you can be real with him and be like, look, I don't want to send pictures back and forth. Or, reply to messages later. Just say, hey. You don't have to be like, hey, good morning. How are you, babe? XOX, kisses, whatever type thing. It looks like you like him. And think to yourself, if you were in a relationship with a guy who was texting his ex like that, you would see it as cheating and you'd be pissed off. So think of it from another perspective. Do your messages seem like a friend or someone letting them down? Or do they seem more like you're his girlfriend and leading him on? Ask yourself that. Number 3, express that you have lost interest, but do it in a kind way. You can let them down nicely. Again, there's no need for you to be over direct, super mean, super rude, whatever, because trust me, he probably has negative things he can say and or think of about you as well. You're not trying to make this a, high school back and forth argument. We're adults here. Let's be honest. Let's be real with each other. Just say to him, look, I've kind of lost interest. I don't think this is going to work out. And just like as a Japanese guy can do for you, I actually like this and I do this myself. Reassure them and let them know they have other and or better options out there besides yourself. You don't want to make somebody feel super sad, super depressed, suicidal necessarily over your breakup, but you also don't want to be manipulated into staying with someone. So again, be clear. Be like, look, I'm sorry. Things just aren't working out. I don't see us as, being a couple moving on in the future. You don't have to go into extreme detail. Be as detailed as you feel comfortable being. If you don't feel comfortable sharing the exact reason, I won't judge you for not doing so. But I will say that think about yourself. If you think you would prefer to have closure, it's okay to be honest with him, especially, again, if you think the problem was something that could be fixed. But do keep in mind that by saying, something that is fixable, for example, maybe you feel like he's selfish or maybe he does whatever. If you feel like it was something that could be fixed, then of course, you can say it. And of course, if he really loves you, he might be willing to change that for you. But don't be fooled by people pretending to change, to just keep you a little bit longer, to get you pregnant, to do whatever, to make you feel trapped. Do protect yourself and be mindful and careful of that. But again, just bluntly say, not in a mean way, but nicely, look, this relationship isn't working out. It's not what I expected it to be. There's better options for you than myself. And, vice versa. I just want to focus on myself. I want to, date other people. I just don't see this working out with us. So again, it's going to hurt him, but you're doing it in a nice way. You're not directly telling him, look, you need to get your pockets up or whatever. You're not being super blunt and mean. You're not telling him, oh, I met, a 6'2" guy. You're only 5'6". So you're not being mean and saying rude stuff like that, but you are being honest with him. You don't see this relationship moving forward. He's not someone that you want to be with. That's what he needs to know. Always be, clear and be blunt in a nice way, But, you know, do be careful. You know, you're at risk of breaking somebody's heart potentially when you're breaking up with them. That's something to keep in mind. Again, always be empathetic, sympathetic. Put yourself in that person's shoes. You might be a tough person. You might be someone that doesn't care, that would rather be told directly, but you are not everyone. And the average person, not just in Japan, but in general, they don't like being told harsh news directly and blunt. For example, think of yourself when you were in grade school. Would you rather have a guy that finds out that you have a crush on him say, "Oh, I don't like that ugly bitch"? I literally still remember one of my biggest crushes that I had when I was a freshman in high school, and overhearing him tell his group of friends that I wasn't his type. And he pretty much called me ugly. Like, they were like alluding to the fact that he had a crush on me. And I forgot his exact words, but it like tore me in so many pieces. Like, I didn't want to go back to school. But anyway, yeah, think about it that way. You don't, I mean, of course, that guy really felt that way about me. I was the ugliest girl in the world in his eyes. But once again, you need to think about how you would feel. And that's what I think of. Do I want a guy to talk to me like that? Or would I rather a guy say, "Look, like, I know you really like me, but I'm just friends with you." Or, you know, in this case, we're not talking about being friends with exes, guys. It's not a normal thing in Japan. But if you can make it work, go ahead and do it. But to Japanese people, being friends with your ex means being friends with benefits. There's no in between. So again, keep their feelings in mind. You don't want to hurt them. Be honest, be real. But being real and honest doesn't mean being hurtful. You can get your point across without being unnecessarily mean. You might be breaking their heart by telling them this. That's enough to deal with by itself. You don't want somebody also beating themselves up by thinking they're the ugliest or stupidest or shortest or whatever person, or fattest, whatever the case happens to be. People have their own insecurities and problems to work on. No need to be a jerk. Number 4, delete any joint social media presence that you had. Now, to some people this might seem petty, but it's pretty normal here in Japan. If you have pictures up with your ex, potential people that would like to date you, even in America, I would say this is true, they will assume that you guys are still together. And for the person that you are dating, if they still like you, you're giving them hope of rekindling the flame of your relationship. So it's really important that if you have profile pictures together, they're your cover photo on Facebook, you have videos up, they're on your Line account, etc., delete everything, or you need to replace it. So you don't want to leave this person on again and make them think, "Oh, okay, we might still be together because she didn't delete our picture together, or our video is still up." So it's not a matter of being petty and trying to pretend like the person's not there and erase the existence of them, but really it's to help them heal too and help them to realize, look, we're really through, we're really done. You're not going to be capable of changing my mind. So seems petty, but it's needed. Get rid of it all. Don't post anything new, even if like it was a recent photo where you looked really good. Just don't do it, you guys. It's petty, and again, you're breaking their heart more and more. Think about how you would feel. Think of yourself. Number 5, be consistent. This is arguably the most important point, as I've kind of said before. You shouldn't still be replying to messages, etc. But also keep in mind, this includes things like video chats, calls, hanging out together. So if you guys have mutual friends, I'm sorry, this is why I personally don't like to mix my personal life with my dating life. You know, when I say personal life, I mean like friendships with, you know, the person I'm dating, with my job, etc. It's good to keep all of these things separate because it becomes super awkward should you guys break up or have a fight. And unfortunately, this is one of those cases. You really, really need to be consistent and not do things you used to do. So maybe you used to always hang out with him and his friends on, you know, Friday night. You gotta stop doing that. Maybe you used to, you know, video chat with each other, you know, on Mondays or Sundays, whatever. You gotta stop doing that. You need to make it clear that your relationship is truly done. So anything you used to do needs to stop. Anything you say, you need to stick with. If you tell them that you're done, don't change your mind and let them persuade you by saying, "Oh, I have ice cream," or "I know you really like this cake, you know, shop, whatever. Let's go there on Saturday." Or "Did you see the new Christmas, you know, frappe at Starbucks? Let's go get that together. Or let's go here. Let's do whatever. I know you like this." Or "I have tickets for whatever." Don't do that. Again, if the guy really loves you, really is obsessed with you, maybe he's a really nice guy, He might be trying his hardest to do whatever he thinks he needs to do to get you to change your mind. And you need to be consistent to make it clear to him that your mind cannot be changed. Don't use this guy to take advantage of him, because I promise you, if you ever do that to somebody, it will come back to you tenfold worse. You will get played beyond your wildest dreams. Don't do that to a guy. If you know you're done, you say you're done, act like it once again. Stay consistent. And last but not least, number 6, block him. I see so many girls who stay inside of relationships or who pretend like they're being held hostage when they're really not. You don't have to reply to every message that you get. You don't have to answer every call. Do you respond to every telemarketer that calls your phone? No, you don't. Okay. Well, just like how you don't reply to every piece of junk mail asking you to call a number or sign up for something, you don't have to reply to your ex. You don't have to talk to them. You can block them just like how you block the bill collectors, telemarketers, whatever. It's the same thing. If someone is not taking a hint, someone is making you feel uncomfortable, someone is threatening you, block them. Move on with your life. There's literally no excuse, no reason to not block someone. There just isn't. If you're done with your relationship, move on. Don't give them false hope. Don't make yourself stressed out. Don't make yourself feel afraid or scared or anxious. If you even need to, if it's really necessary, change your number, move. Whatever you have to do to make yourself feel safe and secure, but you don't owe anyone any type of explanation. You don't owe closure. If you say that the relationship is done, it's finished. That's all they need to know. You've moved on. You've verbalized it to them at this point. If they still cannot take your hint, they don't believe you, block them. That's as real and serious as it gets. And do keep in mind that for a lot of guys, they don't think it's over until you block them. Because in their mind, oh, she doesn't like me. She won't read my messages. She won't reply to them. She won't answer my phone call. So keep that in mind. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. I have a few more tips I want to share, but these aren't more so for, like, how can I say, kind of how to carry yourself. So number 7, if you guys do break up, don't brag about your new date, your new relationship. You don't need to instantly post it to try to make him jealous or whatever. Be mature, be an adult. Again, you're probably breaking his heart in the process. I'm not saying you have to pretend like your life isn't moving on, but there's no need to be unnecessarily petty and make someone, feel super depressed or super angry, super sad. Again, when you break up, you always have to be careful. Your life is technically on the line. You don't know what someone's capable of doing. You don't know how crazy someone is. They can ruin your current relationship that you've moved on to. They can ruin a future one. They can ruin your life by harming you or people that you know. People handle breakups and anger differently, and you never know if you were dating someone that was truly crazy. So be careful with doing that. Protect people's feelings and be thoughtful. You can post about your new relationship without, making comparisons or bragging about them where you're rubbing them in your ex's face. It's not necessary. Be an adult about this. Number 8. Return anything that you would want returned to you. I know a lot of you girls don't want to do this step, but again, being the bigger person, thinking about yourself, you should return anything that you took during your relationship, whether it be a gift, whether it be personal items that he left at your place, whatever the case happens to be, give him back anything he spent money on. So even if it's a ring, in my opinion, if you're done with the relationship, especially if you're the one to call it off, give him back his stuff. He gave you these things with the intention of you being his girlfriend, you being his wife. Don't do something bogus like that. You would want those things back as well. And even if you wouldn't, think about how the other person feels. Just give it back to them. It's not worth it to be petty like that. So be mindful, be thoughtful. I know you like that ring. I know you like that purse. I know you like the necklace. I know you like whatever little knickknacks he gave you, even money. Return all of it. I know once it's given to you as a gift, it becomes yours. But again, this was given to you as a gift with the intention of you being his girlfriend, his wife, whatever. You don't want to be that anymore. So act like it. Give it back. If you've truly moved on, you don't need stuff that reminds you of him. You don't need things that came from him. Be fair. Number 9, moving on from your relationship, please do not be one of those kiss and tell type people. You don't need to go into detail about all of the stuff that happened inside your relationship. You don't need to talk about, his dick size. Trust me, I want to get on some of my exes. But back on subject. You don't want to be petty like that. You don't need to give names. You don't need to talk about what you did exactly, about all of the details of your relationship. Sex, dating life, it's personal. If what you have to say is not good, people don't need to hear about it. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say nothing at all. So if you're not going to brag about how good of a boyfriend he was and talk about the great dates you went on, there's no need for you to say petty stuff, to talk about how bad sex was or how bad he did whatever. If what you're saying isn't going to be positive and what you're saying is not to get help in a situation that dealt with abuse, there's no need to bash somebody. It's not necessary, it's petty, it's wrong, and you wouldn't want it to happen to you or someone that you care about and or love. Think about people's feelings, and again, you reap what you sow. Don't say or do things that you might regret later on, because honestly, you're setting yourself up for your next boyfriend to talk bad about you, talk bad about your body. If you don't want that to happen to you, don't do that to your ex. And now, finally, the very last one, number 10. This can be the hardest one if you really have a heart, like I know I personally do. You need to ignore all desperate pleas, for rekindling that fire, for having a new relationship, for starting over, or even offers for one-sided sex, aka him going down on you. You need to be real with yourself and accept the fact that it's over. And while it can be tempting, you really need to help him get over you by not being available to him. So you might say to yourself, okay, well, I don't want him to be sad or for him to kill himself, so I'm going to talk to him. But honestly, you continuing to speak to him is giving him hope, and you're making it harder and harder for him to let go of you. The longer you stay in a relationship, the harder it is to break up, the harder it is to let go. You need to be clear with him. You need to be consistent, like I said. And you need to make sure that you shut down any false hope that he might have. So if this guy starts telling you, oh, like, I really just want to have sex with you, or I'm okay with just being friends with benefits. I understand you don't want a real relationship right now. You don't want a serious relationship. Or, okay, like, I'll get a better job. I'll do whatever. No. You need to make it clear. It's not just a matter of you having these things. It's you. I don't want to be with you. I don't care what you change. I'm sorry. But my mind cannot change. It will not change. Please date other people. Please see other people. You need to be blunt, be clear with them. And again, if he cannot accept that, you need to simply block him. Because this is good for both you and him. It's stressful for both of you. From his perspective, you're breaking his heart. He probably feels suicidal, depressed, whatever. From your perspective, you might feel a little bit guilty and bad for wanting to end a relationship. A relationship doesn't have to be filled with abuse for you to want to end something. You have the right to decide you don't like anyone anymore, just like he does. So don't feel guilty about your decision. If you're done with your relationship, just be clear, be blunt, be honest. Because if you're not being honest, if you are leading him on, if you're not being consistent, now you are worse than him. There's nothing worse than an adult that will lie to you and pretend to want something that they do not. Don't ghost somebody. Don't use someone. Don't be unavailable until money or sexual favors get involved. Don't do that. And again, by doing this, you might even be setting yourself up for a trap. This guy might be crazy. He can kill you. He can harm you. He can rape you. You don't know what might happen. People are crazy. People do crazy, desperate things out of love. You don't want to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. You don't want to embarrass yourself publicly by having a huge argument or scene or whatever. So that's that. I'm done with my advice and tips on this. This is just my own personal opinion on how I would suggest breaking up with guys. If you got nothing else from this video, to wrap everything up, generally both Japanese guys and girls will ghost you if the relationship is done, in the sense that they will slowly stop communicating with you as much and slowly cancel things that you guys had planned and not seem as interested when you guys do things together. My happy medium is to not just bluntly, quickly be like, oh, I'm done, don't talk to me. But instead to just be like, look, I'm done with the relationship, sorry, and kind of let them leave on their own. So don't lead them on. But again, be respectful, be polite. Remember, someone's heart is on the line. Heartbreak is horrible, it's awful. We've all been there before. You don't want to make somebody potentially kill themselves over you. But also keep in mind to not accept responsibility for things like that either. It is not your job to make everyone happy. You cannot. There are thousands, if not millions of people that want to date you, that would love to marry you. You cannot possibly fulfill all of their dreams of doing that. You can't date everyone. You can't have sex with everyone. You can't marry everyone. You have to put your foot down at some point and say, my life is about me, making me happy. I don't have to step on other people to be happy, but I do have to put myself first. If you're unhappy and miserable in your relationship, it's time to let it go. So that's that. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry if I left out some things. If you're watching this video and you live in Japan and you've been dating here, you have experienced breakups, etc., please share with me and everyone else, how do you suggest breaking up? Do you agree or disagree with any of my points? Let me know down below. So thank you so much for watching. I would appreciate it if you would like this video and leave me a comment. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And as always, I would also appreciate it if you would follow me on Instagram and Twitter. And I have a Snapchat and a Facebook page as well. So if you would like and follow and add me there too, I would greatly appreciate it. If you need some more help with dating in Japan, I have an entire playlist dedicated to dating in Japan, as well as a blog, excuse me, I like spit, as well as a blog that is dedicated to posts to help you out in that department. So yeah, please check out my website, comic95.com, and that is all. Thank you for watching.